This is a Let's Talk Church Safety and Security microsode with your host, Paul Buckner.
Hey Sheepdogs, at the time of recording this, it's coming up on Christmas 2023, and I wanted to talk just a moment about sometimes how the simplest small thing can be a blessing. So, number one, I'm in a parking lot. I'm walking up to do a little bit of shopping, and as I walk up towards the door, I look down and there's a sharp. There's a hypodermic needle on the ground, and I don't want somebody's kid to get into it. So first responder, I step over to the back of my vehicle, open the hatch of my Subaru, pull out a glove, and I'm able to just slide it up over it. There's no exposed needle, and I'm able to put it in there and take it and throw it in the trash. Why do I talk about that? Because it reminds me of something I learned a while back, which is most churches and environments are going to have like an empty pop bottle, and maybe you find a Sharps out in a parking lot and you need to take it to a secure facility to dispose of it. So I've seen folks that will take, a lot of first responders, we will take and actually wrap a hypodermic needle in a glove, in a disposable, rubber glove. But I was in an environment where a kid, it was a jiu-jitsu class, and a kid got his ear mashed, and I mean mashed, and there was a first responder there that was actually able to draw the blood off of it. And in the course of doing so, they needed a place to put the bloody hypodermic needles. And so I looked over in the trash. I had my medical gloves on. The young man was in a lot of pain. Take the plastic bottle, hold it up, the Sharps go into it, and then they were able to take it and securely dispose of it. At a church that I was at for 25 years, we were finding things like that on the ground fairly regular for a while. We had a bad, rough couple of years. So in a pinch, that can be a place to, because a lot of times that the needle's not going to puncture through the plastic of that water bottle. So that's one. Two is sometimes bringing peace in the smallest way. So I'm driving, and I truly believe God puts me, I'm humbled that he uses me at all, but I pray, God, put me where you want me and use me. And today I finished up my service calls for the day, and I'm actually doing some light shopping, getting some stuff done. And as I'm driving, I look over, and there's a vehicle in a ditch, and obviously hydroplane. I'm looking at the light, nobody's stopping to check on it. It doesn't even look occupied. So as I go by, I slow down and I look at it. And as I slow down and look at it, I realize it's occupied multiple times, at least twice. And I get up there, and there are multiple young females in it. It looks like they had hydroplaned off the road and hit the bank. No injuries, didn't deploy the airbags. Nobody hit their head or anything. One of the little girls was shook up and was like, "I'm scared." And I said, "Hey," I said, "there's nothing to be scared of." I said, and I'm lending them my calm, right? It's something that they can borrow. And I said, "Hey," I'd already called it in. The dispatcher, I'm in an area that I'm not commissioned in. The dispatcher, I'm like, "Hey, do you want me to hang 10 and just, keep an eye on things until your officer gets here?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you don't mind." And so I did. Nobody's going to stop and bother them. Some people might view multiple young females as a target of opportunity. And as I stepped up, I was like, "Hey ladies, I'm off-duty law enforcement." I said, I've called it in. I got their details, gave a license plate, all that good stuff. But the little girl was really shook up, and I was able to say, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's okay." I said, "The fun part's over." I said, "You got to slide off into the ditch and get all that." And she kind of giggled, and she could have been more than 8. And I said, "Now we just kind of wait." And she's like, "I really want to get out." And whoever, like big sister was or whatever in the front seat was like, "No, you need to stay in the vehicle." And I said, "Yeah." I said, you're a lot warmer in here. No use getting sick out there." And I said, "And some people, I'd hate for somebody to run you over. Some people don't pay a lot of attention when they're driving." But you can literally lend your calm to a situation. And I think that's an aspect of de-escalation. We think of de-escalation as staying calm to keep ourselves calm. But we can also de-escalate a situation where maybe a person would start hyperventilating and freaking out. And if we're able to lend our calm to that situation, somebody can borrow that. They can borrow our peace. There's that biblical precedent of praying and asking God to allow our peace to reside, to stay in another place. We can literally lend peace in a situation like that in a way that blesses others. And so I was able to be there not only as a security aspect, and I just stepped off to the side, let him keep the windows up. I did mention, I was like, hey, in this state, they're going to want these 3 forms of identification from you, so that might help if you could have that. It's busy work. The officer's going to, first thing she's going to do is ask for that when they get there. But it was busy work, and I happen to know in that state, they're going to ask for your driver's license, they're going to ask for your proof of insurance, and they're going to ask for your registration. Well, what did that give her to do? Something to be calm about. And I don't know how many times that I've you're seeing a young person and they're on the phone with mom or dad, and I don't know how many times the young person has been freaking out, Mom, it's okay, and I'm like, hey, would you mind if I talk to your mom real quick? And they're like, not at all, here you go. And because they're half thinking they're in trouble, and they might be in trouble, right? And in that moment, I'm going to say, hey, Mom, my name is Officer Buckner, or hey, Mom, I'm an off-duty first responder. My last name is Buckner. What can I do to help you? What happened? Well, the best I can tell. And then, but from what I'm seeing, nobody's injured. They didn't hit their heads. The airbags didn't deploy. They're off the roadway. The vehicle, they're dry. They're warm. And I am off-duty law enforcement. I'm hanging out here with them. Nobody's going to bother your kiddos. And there's an officer on the way. And we can lend our calm even to someone who isn't in the situation, because I cannot tell you how many times I've been able to provide that little bit of calm, and then the person on the other end of the phone is like, well, then why are they freaking out so much? Well, I don't know. Have they ever been in a wreck before? No. Yeah, probably par for the course to be a little bit freaked out over that first wreck. So a thought about sharps, hypodermic needles, if you've got to be able to transport them, and you've got to improvise, you got to MacGyver a situation, you've got gloves to touch it with and put it in there, and then you can take it and securely dispose of it. That's one way. Is I've used water bottles many times, and then secondly, providing peace sometimes it seems like such a small thing, and it seems like we're not really doing anything, but that's one of the biggest thank yous I get from people, whether it's doing executive protection or church safety, or in the line of duty as an officer, or in this case just John Q. Public, Good Samaritan driving down the road, is to be able to provide peace. So as always, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. Remember Semper Disciplina, that lifestyle of discipline training. God bless.
If you enjoyed this microsode, check out the video and audio versions of the Let's Talk Church Safety and Security podcast.